From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may know all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Yum Hunab Gu Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Yum Hunab Gu Eva Maya E Ma Ho. Yum Hunab Gu Eva Maya E Ma Ho. All hail the harmony of mind and nature.
It's just different.
I am the world changer, coded by the blue storm. My number is 19, the power of all number. I am the master alchemist, the force behind the philosopher's stone. Skilled at the art of transmutation. I am the catalytic transformer of world consciousness and planetary living. I oversee the changes of the weather. I am the thunder that shatters your world systems. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies, spies. It was I who caused the triple Aztec monuments of the Avatar archetype to appear in the ancient temple grounds. I oversee the morning and the evening stars. I behold the creator of the fifth sun, the present world. Sent forth am I to dwell among you, calling forth the sixth sun. For the great regeneration of the world's soul, to know me is to know your own power of self-generation. To know me is to know your own power of self-generation. Self-generation is power. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies, spies.
All right, greetings and in Lakesh. Welcome back to another Sync Talk session. Synchronicity Talk is what we call this, to synchronize what we're learning from the digital age and AI with our cosmic knowledge and intelligence and spiritual evolution. And when we blend them with the proper balance, we can design our life in ways to make this such a euphoric experience. It's just flat out amazing. My name is Neb Teharka Kanishkawak, and I am the founder and chancellor of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. And what I intend to do over these next few moments is really just probably about 30 or 40 minutes, is really to give you some ideas that can help enhance your life. What I'm striving for is by the time we leave here, you're just a little bit better than you were before you came here. Those of you that know a little bit about myself, just to give you a little background about who I am and what I do, we actually study and teach Olmec, the original Mexicans, are also known as the She people, who are descendants of the Maya. And we teach the Olmec and Galactic Maya cosmology. Now, why do we do that? As well as the Dogon and any indigenous culture that focused on advanced mind concepts. And what we found is when we studied these individuals, some of them studied and followed the Galactic Maya and the Olmecs in particular. They were following 17 different calendars. And so some of us would be looking at it like, why would we do that? Just the same as they would be looking at us and saying, why are you using 17 different apps on your phone? Right? So just like we use apps, they were using calendars. And let me tell you why they were using calendars and what's different. They were using calendars to help them open up their memory and their consciousness to be more telepathic, to be more extrasensory. And they were able to see, like if you think about the Dogon tribe of West Africa and Mali, they were able to see planets without a telescope. They drew them on the walls in their village. So when different cultures came to visit their village, they would be able to see, how did you know this? After the advent of the telescope, we couldn't even see this with a telescope. How could you see this with just the naked eye? Well, it wasn't their naked eye. They were engaging themselves into telepathy. So in studying this, I was so fascinated with how sophisticated the mind of these indigenous cultures was and what the technologies, the human technology was able to tap into. I said, what if I was able to combine what I already know with artificial technology, AI, and I was able to integrate that and somehow synchronize it with my spiritual evolution and with absolute intelligence, big A, big I. What kind of intelligence could I access? And more importantly, how could I design my life and what power would I have to orchestrate my life? And so when I started to do this, I seen immediate changes in my life. One of the things that happened, my emotional intelligence increased. So I wasn't bothered by difficult situations at all, not even a little bit. In fact, I was fueled by them. Obstacles were like playgrounds for me. Also, here's the big one. When I started to study this, I've always been very driven and a doer. What I noticed was this. I start magnetizing things before I had to do them. So like, oh, let me get ready to go out here and get some new clients for my consulting firm or for what we're doing in our coaching initiatives. Do you know that when I started 6 years ago, I didn't start with any experience in coaching? None. I literally just received a download on how to do it. My students were asking me to coach, and let me show you the power of magnetism. 6 years later, I've done over 1,500 coaching sessions. Not having a certification in coaching, not having a degree in coaching, not being a part of Toastmasters or the speaking circuit. Let me tell you, that displayed the power of magnetism like I never seen. I didn't have to, and I do a training on this. Whatever you seeking is seeking you. And so I used to hear that, and I used to be like, yeah, right. I was what I'm seeking me, and I'm doing all the work. Well, I was doing it the wrong way. Once I start allowing and I surrendered to the power of magnetism bringing me the opportunities came before I even have to lift a finger. Right? Same thing with with actually teaching. We're in our 23rd consecutive semester of teaching over a 9-year period. So this is experience. This is how I know it works. I have no experience. I've never been a teacher. I don't have any formal training or anything in teaching. And now people call me professor. So my point in saying this is that when I started to study this cosmology, right, and some of the concepts I'm going to share with you, it increased my personal magnetism. It made me more telepathic. We actually have a group called the Telepathic Remembrance Group where we practice telepathy, like remote viewing, retrocognition, where we go back in the past, precognition, where we can see the future before it happens, and mind-to-mind telepathy. That's the basic level. Now we've added an advanced level. Okay? And so what I'm saying is this. When you hear what you hear today, you got to listen with the ear in your heart. And you got to really think about in your heart of hearts, am I where I want to be today? Where is my level of personal magnetism? If I had an opportunity to become more intelligent and be these things he's talking about, like be able to know what's going to happen before it happens, be able to remote view and see what somebody else is doing or what's important to them without even being there. And I can do this in the past or future. Mind-to-mind telepathy. If I was building my business and something just told me to ask somebody about fishing, my intuition told me, ask them about fishing. And you asked them about fishing, and that warmed them up to you enough to say, this is the person I need to be doing business with. And you gained a big client that way, all because you asked them about fishing, not because how technically good you were, because you asked something that you didn't know that mattered to them. And so people don't care what you know until they know how much you care about them. Let me tell you something. These concepts that I've discovered can help you in every area of your life. So when I say after we're done today, I want you to be a little bit better today after you leave than before you came. I mean it. So let's go ahead and get started. Again, my name is Teharka Kanishkawak, and I am the founder and chancellor of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. Right now, I'm in my 10th year of teaching, and I'm in my 7th year. I just started my 7th year here at the end of January in coaching, and so now we got a lot of initiatives. We have assistant professors that help us teach at the school. We also have teachers, and we have people that are now aspiring to be master teachers. We also are about to start our coaching program. So we're going to do a train the trainer on how to do synchronicity coaching, because we have some awesome people who can coach. They just need a platform to do so. And we're going to be introducing our new initiative called Synchronomics, where we're going to build a consortium and help small businesses with these concepts as well. So it's a lot that's taken place in a short span of time. And so I'm so grateful to be here with you. Now, we talked a lot about kin numbers. And so with kin numbers and these calendars, one of the first calendars that I'm going to introduce you to is the 260-day calendar. The 260-day calendar has 260 kin, right? This is how you get your kin number, which are these 260 kin are the 260 expressions of the Creator that houses your purpose for why you came on earth to fulfill your purpose. Okay? Right? So your galactic purpose is fueling your earthly purpose. Here's what I found out. When I figured out my galactic purpose, life on earth was so easy. It literally just a game. Before that, it was stressful. I was triggered. There was anxiety. I'm gonna show this one. I had anger and frustration. You know, I wanted to prove people to be wrong and me to be right. Right. And so each of you who are listening, whether you're been with us for a while or you're new, you incarnated, which means you were born on one of these kin numbers. And that kin number opens your mind up to what I call galactic remembrance or cosmic memory. And in your cosmic memory is where your spirit and your soul has been before you became physical. Now, the reason why that's important is because your spirit and your soul introduces us to levels of consciousness, right, that we hadn't been able to operate with. And we grow through a very slow process of this through the physical, right? And it's really a controlled growth by these programs that the different systems that we work for and live through, and I call it the matrix. It slows our growth process in the physical. But our being, our body, is yearning to get back to the remembrance of our etheric body, our spiritual self, right? And so therefore it's seeking self-expression, and the self-expression is to evolve. It's seeking self-expression on an energetic light level that taps us into our immortality and its potential. These things trigger our memory and give us access to states of consciousness in a way that now we're remembering that we have these powers while we're in the body. And so we can orchestrate our life different, knowing we have this type of power versus thinking the power is outside of us, versus thinking that we need government agencies to govern us. No, we practice self-governance. We practice universal law. So we don't need to be governed, right? And all the answers, we really don't even need to go to school, because what happens is the whole universe is tapped in, is at our fingertips from within. And your intuition is your professor. Your intuition is your guide. You just got to learn to trust it. But what happens is most people don't trust it because it doesn't sound like it's going to work. It doesn't sound like it's going to work because it's coming from a higher level of consciousness than how you operate. It's just like, think about this. Think about it in this way. Your parents, when you were a teenager, they were saying, let me tell you, you need to start your search on colleges when you're a sophomore, take your pre-SAT, right? And then visit your colleges when you're a junior. And by the end of your junior year, determine what college you want to go to, get all your letters out and all this kind of stuff. The teenager just said, why I got to do all that right now? I should be having fun. My sophomore year, I'm hanging out with the seniors. My junior year, I just made varsity. My senior year, oh snap, I got to jump through these different hoops now to see what colleges. And then it's the last minute and there's opportunities missed, right? So with that being the case, it didn't make sense to that teenager to be proactive. But the person that already went through that process, your parents, they gave you some best practices. And had you been coachable and listened, you probably would have had more full ride opportunities and options than you had waiting to the senior year to do all that. And you look ill prepared anyway. We just see things through our eyes, but we don't think about the eyes of the other people who see in us and who are going to engage us and receive us. We're not seeing what their eyes are seeing when it comes to us. But when we're listening to higher consciousness, it does. And so the approach that it gives us may be a little bit different than our current state of mind and our current thought process might work. So because it's not the current thought process that we're receiving from our intuition or that little voice, we said that might work, but I'm gonna just keep doing things the way I've been doing it. And if you keep doing things the way you've been doing it, you're gonna keep getting what you've been getting. Like I've heard many times, we're the sum total of the decisions that we made on a daily basis up till now. You're a sum total of the decisions. So if you think about your decisions and you look at your outcome and what you have from those decisions, and if you don't have what you want, it's time to make different decisions. It's time to change the thought process a little bit. It's time to be a little bit more assertive, right? It's time to be to surrender to someone who has done it if you really, really want something more. And so that's where we are with this. My kin number is kin 239, the blue overtone storm. So I was born on the 239th out of 260 expressions of the Creator. And here's what my affirmation is. I empower in order to catalyze, commanding energy. Now, if I just stop at those first two lines, I empower in order to catalyze. So what it seems like to me, and this is how my purpose was tied to it, I thought about how I felt when I felt empowered or when I saw other people who felt empowered. And I got that warm, fuzzy feeling in my chest. Like, I really like that. I really like to see people empower themselves. I like to see me when I'm empowering myself. And so it made me think, man, as long as I'm empowering myself, I'm on purpose. Because think about this. People spend their whole life looking for their purpose and not even thinking about, you couldn't even get into this physical realm without a purpose. You couldn't even get here without a purpose. So now you already have the purpose, but what is it? You take your purpose everywhere you go. And your purpose is not to be a doctor or a lawyer. Your purpose is, if I was a doctor or a lawyer, I get to empower people and catalyze good health, right? Through people that may be ill that are becoming well, right? If I was a lawyer, I'm able to empower people who don't know the law, so they're not in litigation. They're free. They're sovereign and liberated. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter my profession. What matters is what my purpose is. I carry with me everywhere I go. And here's what I do know. When I don't see people being empowered, when I don't see me empowering myself, I'm like losing oxygen. I'm feeling very out of place. And I'm questioning, is this a place that I need to be in right now? Right? So with that being the case, right, I empower in order to catalyze. Right? Line number 2, commanding energy. So I remember just when I worked out, when I work out and I do different things, how I command my body to be stronger, how I command my body to push through. I command you to have endurance. I command you to have stamina. I command you, body, to go to the next level, to go further than you went the last time. Right? I seal the matrix of self-generation with the overtone, right? The overtone is the 5th out of 13 tones. The overtone tone of radiance. What is radiance? Right? Personal magnetism. What is radiance? Passion. What is radiance? Enthusiasm. Right? So with the overtone tone of radiance, I am guided by the power of accomplishment. That's when I was sold, because I'm a very results-driven person. And when I'm not accomplishing, I'm like, why am I here? What are we doing? Now that's me. Everybody doesn't have to be like that, but that's me. So when I heard my affirmation, I said, that's me. That's my purpose. And so everywhere I go, I ask myself, am I empowering in order to catalyze? Am I accomplishing? Am I seeing others being empowered by what I'm doing? And if the answers are yes, the green light is coming on and say, okay, give them more, give them more, give them more. Right? And then I seen people so inspired that they started to stretch their behavior, stretch their envelope. They started to go beyond the boundaries they set for themselves, and they started to achieve more than they were achieving before. Right? So I'm going to say my affirmation 2 more times to lock it in, and I'm going to give you some powerful information about what's happening in the energy field today with galactic consciousness. All right? Time number 2. Now, what am I doing by repeating it? I'm imprinting it in my mind. When I talk about my mind, the corpus callosum, the plasma, right, that brings together the left and right hemisphere of the brain. And that plasma seeps through my brain into cerebral spinal fluid, into my chakras. That plasma also permeates my blood and changes the blood quality to change my body. All right, so here we go. We're imprinting it, right? We're sending a message to all these trillions of cells by doing it this way. I empower in order to catalyze, commanding energy. I seal the matrix of self-generation with the overtone tone of radiance. I am guided by the power of accomplishment. One more time to lock it in. I empower in order to catalyze, commanding energy. I seal the matrix of self-generation with the overtone tone of radiance. I am guided by the power of my accomplishments. And I am, here's the last line, a galactic activation portal, a gap, which is a portal into my memory, in order to catalyze commanding energy, self-generation, radiance, and accomplishment into me. Now, let me tell you, by the time I get done saying that in the morning, in the dawning, I'm ready to create my reality. That's different than it's Saturn day or it's Saturday. Now, I'm not knocking that, but this just is a little bit more involved for me. My purpose is intertwined in today, or what we call in today's plasma, which is how consciousness travels and evolves. You see, it invokes the ideal of I am. I am a galactic activation portal into my own memory to do this, to catalyze and to command energy, self-generation, radiance of an accomplishment into me. So therefore, I am powerful. I am healthy. I am loving. I am caring. I am compassionate. I am wealthy beyond my wildest dreams. I am that I am that I am sent me. And my purpose to be here now to create my reality on this earth. And nobody, and at certain points, not even me, can stop it. That's how you want to start your creation, your day, your plasma. Right? That's very different than it's the weekend. Really? What do I want to do with a weekend? Nothing. What do you do with a weekend? Right? Something limp with no life in it. You want the strong end of it. You see, it's sometimes these little programs in our mind just limit us enough to almost make it, but not make it. And you'll say, Teharka, that is a play on words. No, it's the reality that if you keep programming yourself to be weak and focus on the weekend, you therefore cannot be strong in the trying times. That's what your mind is going to assume, your subconscious mind. So we have to be careful what we say to ourselves. Ashe? All right. So let's talk about now, which is really powerful. So we talked about this consciousness and tapping in. So if you're listening and you don't have your kin number, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, because that is your galactic passport. That is like you ushering into an expanded mind that can't be controlled, that cannot be manipulated, and that cannot be corrupted by your ego. And so now you're a sovereign being, free to navigate and rule this planet, right, according to the laws of nature, right, and the power of synchronicity. And when you follow the law of nature and the power of synchronicity, right, it works on your behold, not your behalf. I was teaching my 8-year-old today. I want to share something which is real powerful. I was teaching my 8-year-old today about respect. Because he's so intelligent, a lot of people, and the tone that he uses, a lot of people say, yeah, you know, he's disrespectful. And it appears as if he is, but really he's really assertive. But you know, so his teachers were telling us, you know, we need to work on respect with adults. And I said, okay, we'll work on it. So we were talking about it because what he really needs is etiquette and tact, not respect. Because he doesn't think he's disrespectful. He just thinks he's sharing what he knows, right? And he doesn't want to be changed. So check this out. So I was talking to him about respect. And he says, so Papa, with respect, how come when I just tell what I know or give the answer that I think it is, some people say disrespectful? I said, well, there's two things, right? Number one, your tone, right? So we're going to talk about your tact. And respect doesn't start with how they think. First respect that we got to have, watch this, this is huge now for those of y'all listening, is self-respect. Now, I'm teaching my 8-year-old self-respect, and some adults don't even have no respect for themselves. Let me tell you what self-respect looks like to my 8-year-old son, Sage. It looks like a standard of excellence, and that you have that covenant and a pact with yourself, and you won't deviate from it because you operate with the highest expression of yourself, with the things that you do that's important to you. I said, do you think you can do that? He said, yeah. I said, so when you go to school, right, even though they're trying to program you, because the next question, he said, well, why do I need to put so much effort in if they're trying to control my mind? I said, don't worry about that. I'm going to show you how you will make them think that they're controlling your mind, but you're going to be absorbing all their knowledge, right? So that when you do something next, they can't control you. That's why you're doing it. He said, okay, right? So the first step was self-respect. Now, what happens when you have self-respect and you conduct yourself with excellence, immediately the teacher and the students, they start to respect your approach to the class and knowledge. And some of them will get jealous and they'll tease you because you actually are smarter and working harder than them. Not even that you're smarter, you're just consistent in your excellence. I said, so you first respect yourself, then your teacher will respect you. No, then you give your teacher respect. So you get the respect for yourself, and then you give some of that to your teachers. You give that to your parents and your relatives, right? Some of that respect you give to yourself, you give to them, and then they in turn give it back to you. You see, this is what it looks like when they come back to you. They give you rewards. They give you opportunities. You see you're part of groups that are elite. And you're going to get to do things other people are not going to be able to do, not because they're not smart as you, but because they didn't apply themselves the right way. Now, whatever I was sharing with my 8-year-old, I can share with you. That I can talk to you about how much telepathy you can gain by studying galactic consciousness and this cosmology as I've discussed. You can talk about how many powers it can make you teleport. It can make you remote view and see people in other places that you're not. It can do all of that, but it's null and void if you don't know your purpose. If you don't know your purpose, it's null and void. And then if you know your purpose and you don't respect your purpose as yourself, then you're not going to receive the cooperation, because when you start getting into galactic consciousness, you're now swimming upstream like the salmon. Everybody else is swimming downstream, looking for what's easiest, and you're swimming upstream, not looking for what's easiest, but what's looking for what's best and what's going to strengthen you in ways that certain things can't strengthen you. And so now you positioned yourself for greatness in your approach to life. So it don't matter what you know. It matters what is your approach to yourself. Who are you first before we talk about who you know? So here's the order of merit. Divine decree says to be, or not to be. So be, and you can be anything that you want as long as you discover the power of God and use it in you. You can be anything. It's easy to put God first when you know you got God in you. Right? First thing. Now, when you say I'm God, guess what? I'm being the God in me, and I'm aligning with the God in me. Watch what happens now. The knowledge that comes that you magnetize is different than if you think you're an old wretch or a worm or you're helpless. You're going to get helpless knowledge when in your heart you think you're helpless. And you're going to get God and cosmic intelligence when you know you're operating from the viewpoint of God in you and all of his powers. You're going to follow your intuition. The knowledge. So know the knowledge that you're going to get is 2. Know. Now, based on what you know you do, and you might be so well, you might attract things so you ain't got to do, other people do for you versus you having to do for yourself. That's the power of knowing who you are. Right? And then the last one is have. Be, know, do, and have. If you focus on that order, you'll do extraordinary things in this reality. We're not human doers. So that brings me to today. right? So in the 260-day calendar, right, we call the Zolkin, the total expressions of the Creator, and each expression is showing us a different aspect of how we can evolve into that God being inside of us. So today is the 53rd expression of the Creator, and the title of such is the Red Magnetic Skywalker. I'm going to talk a little bit about that before we close out. The Red Magnetic Skywalker. Red means to initiate, right? Magnetic is the first of 13 tones, cosmic tones of creation that deals with purpose, right? And the Skywalker is the dynamic frequency of light that deals with exploring and wakefulness. Let me read to you the affirmation like mine, right? So I unify, right? What am I unifying? My heart and my mind. Divinity is unifying your heart and your mind, your male and female attributes, the 23 chromosomes from your father and the 23 chromosomes from your mother, so that you can become a whole being in your experience as a human. So I unify in order to explore, right? Attracting wakefulness. See, this is different than Saturday. It's Saturday. I'm glad it's Saturday. Show me Saturday how to evolve then. See, this ain't gonna make no sense to you if you okay with being average, if you okay with mediocrity, then what I'm saying to you is not gonna make any sense whatsoever. But if you say, I'm not okay with average, I'm not okay with not being all that I can be, I'm not okay with my children not being able to have what I want for them, I'm not okay with being targeted. I'm not okay with people viewing me as less than because of these different race variance perspectives. And so you step up into a new form of intelligence on a spiritual and energetic level. And then the spirit in them has to bow. This is beyond the physical. And they may never admit it with their mouth, but they're going to confirm it with their spirit. The highest frequency wins. So I unify in order to explore, attracting wakefulness. I seal the output and the expression of space, which is consciousness, with the magnetic tone of my purpose. I am guided by the output of space, my own power doubled. Time number 2, I unify in order to explore. What are we exploring? Greater states of consciousness so that we can operate in a higher state of being, a higher state of excellence, so that we can orchestrate our life and our lives better. Right? So I unify in order to explore, attracting wakefulness. I'm awakened to these new states of consciousness and I can operate with them in the body. I seal the output and the expression of wakefulness. What does that mean? That what radiates from my heart returns a physical and a spiritual equivalency that awakens me to this is the frequency and the thought that I put out, or I thought I put out this expression, but what returned to me in the terms of circumstances is not what I wanted to attract. So you fix you, the projector, and the reflector reflects what you project. I seal the output of space with the magnetic tone of purpose. I am guided by the output of space, my own power double. One more time to lock it in. I unify in order to explore. What states of consciousness are you going to explore? What awarenesses are you going to discover by being awakened? It's going to help. That's going to help improve your life. Ask and you shall be given. But just remember, don't stop asking. Right? I unify in order to explore, attracting wakefulness. I seal the output of space with the magnetic tone of purpose. I am guided by the output of space. My own power doubled. I'm guided by what I see. What shows up in my circumstances is a reflection of what I projected out. So if I don't like my circumstances, then I go within and make the adjustments. You see? And then when I make the adjustments within, what comes out is a reflection of the adjustment from within. It changes, and you can change you. So what this kin expression is calling us to evolve through is to explore new. Write this down. When was the last time you did something for the first time? See, if you've taken a long time to answer that question, it means that you're not growing. And here's my belief. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not growing, you're dying. So take your pick. Are you out of gas, or is your purpose complete? Have you cleared up your karma on this earth and from past lifetimes? Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And if you're dying and you haven't completed your purpose, you're going to be right back here with a juice box and a pacifier and a car seat trying to figure it out with less consciousness than you have right now, according to the ideal of reincarnation, if you can accept that in your psyche. When was the last time you did something for the first time? Is a sign of your growth or lack thereof. That's what we're exploring new states of consciousness for. New opportunities, new horizons. Scientists say with that we have over, some scientists, I've heard some scientists say this, watch this, that we have over 100 million years of memory stored in our brain. 100 plus million years. You know what? Scientists also say we only use consciously about 10% of our brain function. That whales and dolphins use 20%. And they have like a sonar, telepathic mind. I think we're using less than 10%. That was 10 years ago when I heard that, 20 years ago when I heard that. You know why I think we're using less than that? Because we're so dependent on AI. We're so dependent on these smartphones. It is it's dumbing us down as beings. And we have unlimited power. But we are limited by our devices because we depend on them so much. So when we talk about I unify to explore, who are you uniting? How are you uniting within yourself so that there's no conflict? Because if you explore and you got a conflict or a complex issue, guess what? You're not going to magnetize abundance, family. You're going to magnetize confusion in your reality. So it's important that your heart and your mind are in the same, your heart is purified and your mind is in a state of surrendering to greater consciousness to come through. I unify in order to explore. Now you can do that because you unified yourself. Then you're going to unify yourself with other people who unify themselves. And that's how you create a movement. That's how you solve problems of the world. Because you're now attracting wakefulness of other people who have unified within themselves. And so you end up becoming interdependent. But the true interdependence and intradependence means you have to be independent. You have to have a group of independent people, not dependent or codependent. Are you codependent on what happens out on outside of you? Are you the type of person that says, let me see what happens before I make my decision? Or do you make your decision like I do? And I tell you what's going to happen when I make this decision. I can't always pinpoint when it's going to happen. All I can tell you is that it's going to happen. And that will always be true to you and to myself. You see? But the root of this, what makes all of this work, is your purpose. And I'm going to tell you, those of you that are listening, if you don't know your purpose, if you've been studying your cosmology, don't know this purpose, you need to instant message me. You need to hit my line in my inbox so that you can get a better understanding of how your kin reflects your purpose. So you can have, true leadership is giving people direction, purpose, and motivation. What is the motive? The motive is to remember, to experience discipline, to exert yourself, to better your best. That's what that means. To have patience and compassion for others. That's the motive. But you won't do that if you are operating in a state of confusion. So you're unifying yourself for a purpose. What is it? And determine that, right? Don't make complaints, make decisions. And stand 10 toes on those decisions until the outcome of those decisions are to your liking and complete. And so, like the Skywalker, you will be able to explore this reality and your consciousness in a way that it will become a great adventure. The difficulties will become your playground and not your demise or not your destruction. And so now you can row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream, and these obstacles are a playground for me to release my inner child and explore. Family, don't sleep on this galactic consciousness. If you're new to this, reach out to me. I will do your initial consultation. It'll be a free consult where you get, your affirmation, and you can see how your affirmation relates to your purpose. And just that alone will help you meditate different. That alone will help you increase your power of personal magnetism. And then you'll be like, show me more, Neb. And then we'll show you a little bit more. I want to just share something else about my 8-year-old that was so impressive. We have been studying the capitals, not for school. We just study stuff. Like I've had him study his timetables, 21s, not 12. We do 21s, family. 12s are for people that want to be mediocre, right? So we made note cards all the way up 21s times 21, right? And in doing that, so he's done that, and then we were just working on the capitals. And today was the day that we worked on all 50 states. So he was taking one region at a time. And basically, we've been doing no pressure. We've been working on this for about 2 months. And what we would do is on the strong end, Saturday and Sunday, and the days that he had off of school, one of the things we would do was I would drill him on these capitals of the state. And we would spend only 5 to 10 minutes a day, and then I'll turn it off. Now, a lot of people say you should be in there with an hour or two of them. No, I can show you how to evolve and become a master in 1 to 2 moons in 5-minute to 10-minute increments per day. You think you can do that? I don't have the miracle story for you where I'm going to zap you into being something that you're not equipped or prepared for. But I can show you what to study, and I can teach you the approach, and I can show you in 5 to 10-minute increments per day that you can transform yourself into a being that's far beyond where you are now. So we did this for 5 to 10 minutes, and today I said, all right, Sage, right now we're going to go over all 50. Do you think you can remember the ones from the other regions? He said, I don't know. Let's see. All right, well, let's do it. He got them all right. And I had somebody on the phone with me. And they said, oh, that's so brilliant. Sage is so smart. I said, but that's not why he knows these 50 states, because he was smart before we studied him, because he did his 21 timetables. But he didn't know all of the state capitals. I said, what made him know the state capitals was the consistency of 5 to 10 minute increments. Okay? So there's 1,440 minutes per day, right? 1,440 minutes. You mean to tell me you ain't got 5 to 10 to evolve? See, you must have forgotten who you are, because the reason why it's set up this way, you only need 5 to 10 minutes. Now, you can always do more, right? The more you do, the faster you're going to accelerate this process, right? You didn't know who you were. But this is the journey of remembrance. You don't have to relearn what you already know. The journey of remembrance says, let's take these 5 or 10 minutes to trigger your memory. And that memory is going to help you know what we're talking about. You see, it's not the intelligence, it's the practice of intelligence that makes you a genius. That made Sage be able to do that, recall that all at once. And so we all like the story. I gave you some knowledge and information, and then now, I know all the states. I know 11 languages. I can do telepathy. No. It's not about you knowing. It's about you practicing and sustaining it in the resistance, because is a vacuum. But when pressure gets on you, when you're fatigued, when you're hungry, when you feel like you fail, when your heart is broken, when you don't got no money, and then you got to do it, then 5 to 10 minutes shows you how to triumph, because it's second nature. It's in your routine, and we are habitual beings. So habitually, you are intelligent, not intelligent in the vacuum, and unintelligent in the resistance. And this is the state of wakefulness that I'm bringing you to right now. So what are you going to explore today to awaken you to a new level of intelligence that you can practice tomorrow? And if you can solidify yourself just for 5 to 10 minutes a day over a short period of time, will create a level of mastery. And you know what happens with mastery? You never have to learn it again. Family, my name is Neb Teharka Kanishkawak, and it's been a pleasure as well as a privilege to share this evolutionary knowledge with you today. And I will end our session by saying, In Lakesh means I am another you. Alakin means you are another me. Hotep, Hetipu, and Namaste. And remember, evolution is the solution. This is going to conclude our session. We'll see you next Saturday. And wait a minute, before we go. Tomorrow, if those of you have the privilege of listening to this and you're new, our session tomorrow is called Living Abundantly in the New Time. And in living abundantly in the new time, it's about living abundantly in the new time. And we got a topic. And tomorrow, our topic is phenomenal. You see, our topic is about embracing the challenges and the obstacles along your journey. And so what I want y'all to do, we got the link in here. You'll see it, right? It says Adobe Connect. You copy that link and save it and join us tomorrow. Your mind is going to be blown, because I'm going to show you how to turn your challenges into triumphs and your obstacles into opportunities, so that you can live abundantly in the new time. Tomorrow at 10:30 a.m., log on at 10:25. We'll see you then. Enjoy your creation. Thanks for joining us. And if you need a reading, reach out to me if you're new, so that we can get you on track ASAP. Peace.